The Abbey Stadium is one of England's most iconic, with classic terracing and towering floodlights from the 60s. It was in 1932 that this ground first became home to Cambridge United, or Abbey United as the club were then known. Having been formed 20 years earlier in 1912, United played in several different locations, one of which being here at Parker's Piece, a park in central Cambridge. Parker's Piece is a pivotal place in the history of football as a whole, being known as the birthplace of association football. Between 1846 and 1848, Cambridge University students put together a set of rules for the game, including kick-offs, throw-ins and fouls. These laws were adopted by the Football Association in 1863 and are commemorated by this monument behind me. The first games under these rules were played here in Parker's Piece, with the rules nailed to the trees surrounding the pitch. But it wasn't ideal for Abbey United because of its open nature and tendency for games to get disrupted. A lifeline appeared though in 1931 as club president Henry Francis gifted United a piece of land on which a grandstand and changing rooms were built. This was fully finished and enclosed by 1954. Names for the ground included Newmarket Road and the United Ground, but by the early 60s, the current name, the Abbey Stadium, was made permanent and the club is still here to this day. One of my favourite features of the grounds are these floodlights. They are just incredible. They remind me of the ones at Southend United, and I think were installed at a similar time too, right back in the 1960s. They made the ground suitable for Cambridge to be promoted to the Football League in the 1970s, and incredibly 50 years later they are still here, surviving, and still work just as well. Another interesting feature of this ground which makes it so unique are these seats. They stretch across the whole of the front of the main stand and they don't have any backs. They're like these sort of really thin benches, go all the way down blue. They've got these two panels to them. They're not too uncomfortable, they're not too bad. You're sort of right at step level, which I find quite weird. And I must say, I think I do prefer the normal seats, but yeah, very unique and very interesting. When financial problems arose in 2004, the club sold the stadium for £1.9 million to director John Howard's company, Bidwell 445, to stay afloat, before it was sold again, this time to Grosvenor Estates for £3.5 million in 2010. However, 3 years ago, investment from the club's owners meant that Cambridge were able to buy back their ground after 18 years, in a really significant deal for the club. The Abbey hasn't changed much in its near 100-year history, but change is coming. Plans are to be submitted this summer for redevelopment of the stadium, which will see the capacity increased from around 8,000 to 12,000, and new club offices, a shop and museum will all be built. It's great to be able to experience this stadium in its current form before it's redeveloped, but hopefully its charm and history will still remain alongside the modernisation. The Abbey stand and the Newmarket Road end would be redeveloped under the plans, and both of these stands are of course very crucial to the club's sort of current structure. You've got the Abbey stand here with its black and amber, you've got the same here with the Newmarket Road end. It's where most of the atmosphere is and all the fans standing here, so it will be interesting to see how they are changed. To show us around the ground, let's meet Dave, the supporters liaison officer, and also Steve, a volunteer. So how long have you been involved with the club then?
I started supporting in 1970 when we moved here from Reading, right. And doing fans related things since about 1997, 98. So I've seen it all, the sale of the ground. Yeah. Going through administration, going in the non-league, getting out of it, and come work to where we are now. So, yeah,
it's a great story.
Yeah, it is. We've done well. We've done well. It was a struggle to get back.
We had a look inside of the Supporters Club's small museum, which contained a range of Cambridge United merchandise and memorabilia from over the past century.
lovely bunch of coconuts. There they are.
We've got a lovely bunch of coconuts. Yeah.
Right. Big ones, small
One.
ones.
Yeah.
What's the connection with the club? Yeah.
So the person who was the first announcer in the 50s, he picked out a record and it was Coconuts, and they've played it ever since after we've won a game. At the same time, during that period, when a goal was scored, rumour had, I wasn't about then, so I can't confirm it, a lady used to ring a bell every time we scored a goal so that people locally knew.
You mentioned the sale of the ground and the club
Yeah.
buying it back, of course. Could you tell me a little bit about that story, about why it was sold and the process of buying it back?
It was sold because we were in financial difficulties. It was sold to one of the then directors of the football club, and then he sold it on to Grosvenor, and they sold it back about 2 years ago now to the club. A football ground is your home, isn't it? So you want to be owning your home. It's where your history is and everything, and you need to determine what goes on there. And we never seemed to be able to redevelop the site.
Yeah.
So hopefully going forward that will be done.
I know something that the club or fans like about this ground so much is this sort of character and
Yeah.
charm.
Yeah.
How is the club going to sort of modernise the ground whilst keeping this?
I think you've got to talk to fans and bring them along and make sure that the club's identity is everywhere in there. Like we've got this museum here, well, you've got to then build it into there, and you've got to create. Arsenal had a problem when they built their new ground. It didn't have any identity. The fans didn't connect with it. So you have to give them things that they can connect with, that it gives them the history, and there will be elements that will still remain of the old, the main stand I would imagine will stay, the south stand will stay. It will be this bit, these bits, the Abbey Stadium and the Newmarket Road, that will have the biggest development work done on them. But you have to move on.
I'm an Abbey helper. What I do, I sell programmes and lottery tickets in the away end. That's my usual place.
Yeah.
But I've been up here about 3 years now and doing various jobs, helping Dave out, getting up here and just to be an Abbey helper. I've supported Cambridge United. Well, saw my first game in 1973.
Right.
That was against Mansfield as well. So
We're talking about the stadium today. Over the time, how much have you seen it change?
not much really.
Right.
Only what they've built is the new main stand out was built in the late 70s.
Yeah.
They added a bit on there. I'll show you what they added that on. Yeah.
But I think
this is all changed,
yeah.
obviously, but this used to be a car park and used to be a factory and a warehouse unit at the front
Right.
here.
As a fan, how important is it for this redevelopment to sort of still keep the charm of the ground?
Well, I think it's very important, yeah. A lot of people say they don't want to do the sitting, because they'll only be standing this end, but
Yeah.
that's how football stadiums go, isn't it?
Of
It's got to be sitting. I myself personally don't like sitting. I'm an old traditionalist.
Dave was saying that you average about 7,000 people per game.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
I mean, it must be a really solid, strong fan base here.
Yeah. So just how the support is keeping up, But it's just, can't believe it. So this is our new family end now, because this used to be the away end,
Right.
the south stand, but they've changed this season. So it's all seating for families now. And the way supporters are in what we call the South Abbey.
I can imagine that it's quite important to try and attract more families to games.
Yeah, oh yeah. That is, that's what it is. I think the family support, let's get them young and then they'll keep coming.
Yeah.
So this is where the other children's fan zone is here, kids zone, they call it. So the main stand only used to come to halfway line. So that is the new, what we call the newest bit of the stand, from the under the sea of Cladara.
Oh yeah.
That just used to be Yeah. This has been here for years.
So is much of this going to be changed to seating then?
Yeah.
A lot of
All
it?
this side,
Right.
then all that end not all. That'll be standing that end.
Yeah.
They've got to get rid of the supporters club to extend the stand all the way along. But they've all got permission to do that. Supporters club have agreed that they'll don't mind to be moved because they're separate from the club, apparently.
Well, that's the end of my day here at the Abbey Stadium, and I must say I've had a fantastic time finding out more about this historic stadium and this great club's history, and of course seeing a victory for the U's on the pitch as well, 3-2 in League One against Mansfield Town. Their first victory in 7 games in the league, but hopefully they can now of course go on to stay up. A big thank you must go out to Dan, the media guy here, and both Dave and Steve for showing me around this ground, and thank you all for watching at home too. Make sure to like, subscribe, share and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.